Hello everyone, this is Schonali. I head creative content at Jobs for Her, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about doing interviews after your break and how the best thing to do would be to be yourself to get that job, and how can we do that professionally when we're in that interview seat. So just like all of you, I was on a break myself for about 2 years, and coming back to work after that was really scary for me, having taken the break to have a baby. And for 2 years I'd really spent most of my time with a baby, so I didn't think that I could talk to anybody else in the big world out there about anything adult after that. And I was fortunate enough to, as I said in my blog, which I don't know if you all read or not, but one of the things that I did do while I was on my break was stay in touch with any friends who were currently working, who had been on a break themselves, or who had never taken a break, but did, have become mothers as well, because they kept my finger on the pulse of what was going on in the working world. And they were so encouraging to build my self-confidence up to even start looking at restarting my career. So I'm going to take you through my presentation. Hold on one second while a little bit about myself. I began writing stories at the age of 7, and I became a feminist a little earlier than that. I didn't know that's what I was until my first year of college in the US at Knox. I took a women's studies class, Women's Studies 101, the most basic introduction to feminism class, for a credit that I had to take. And I was hooked. It led to a deep-rooted love affair with this subject, and to it becoming the other half of my double major at graduation. Along with it, I really enjoyed studying the subjects of sociology, anthropology, and history, because I felt that they tied together my creative writing degree and my feminism degree, where I got to study the history of people and the nature of human beings. I have moved countries all through childhood and adolescence. I'm a Zennial. That means I was born in between Gen X and the millennials. We recently discovered that that's what we are. So I went through the Gulf War. I moved to India during that time, went to school here. I was in Kuwait otherwise. At some point, my mother became the EA to Azim Premji when he was moving headquarters of Wipro to Bangalore from Bombay. So we moved back from Kuwait again. I really enjoy change. And I didn't when I was on my break, but I've gone back to enjoying it again. And I really enjoy talking to people. I enjoy connecting with people, building relationships with people. And I believe that every person you meet is in your life for a reason. And you should make that connection, because you never know when you will see them again. You never know what may come of that meeting, that connection that you've made with that person. And something that not everyone knows about me is that I was extremely shy till I was 12 years old. And then when I was 12 years old, I moved again for the 4th time. And I realized that if I did not start talking to people, nobody would talk to me. And I would not have any friends in the new school that I was at once again. And that's when I just started talking to people. I love working with different types of people. I've worked in the fields of sales, marketing, event management. I've worked in hospitality, food and beverage, the food and beverage industry. I've worked in coffee exports and fundraising for the performing cultural arts. I've also worked for a brief period in an IT company, and now I'm with the portal. So I've done career restarts actually 3 times, because I moved countries after my graduation quite a few times, and I had to restart once again from the bottom. And each time somebody along the way helped me with setting my brain right, putting myself into the right frame of mind to apply for those jobs, to get those interviews, and then to make an impression in those interviews. And I thank all those people along the way. So here now, what I do with Jobs for Her is the perfect marriage of my capitalist mind and socialist heart, because we're really, what we're doing is I believe, a socio-economic revolution where we're bringing women across India back to work. And what we do, my team, is we're all creative people, but we have to channel our creativity into writing content that actually brings women back to work. So it's not just beautiful, you don't just read it and go away. You have to read it, and it should make you want to restart your career and use jobs for her to do that. I'll go to the next slide. These are two numbers that I want you to keep in mind for your entire restart journey, because each time that I was restarting, these are the mantras I followed, that if I send out 500 job applications, I may get 50 interviews. Someone once told me when I was restarting after moving back to Canada from India, I was about 26 then, that I need to be applying to 50 jobs a day if I want um, anything to come off my job application process or my job search process. And it sounds like a lot, but really once you start, I think the scariest thing is that resume after a break, to just even look at it on your computer. Um, but don't let it scare you. Just take it out and read it. I think do it in baby steps. So get a cup of coffee, open up your resume, read through it, and it'll all start coming back to you. What you used to do, what you're good at, and while you're reading it, think of all the things that you're doing now that you can add to it. So brush it up. And for every job that you apply to, you have to tweak your resume accordingly. So I've applied to jobs with the same resume, but tweaking it. I've applied to jobs in sales, marketing, writing, admin, office manager, data entry, what else? And in every industry, right? So you could be in admin in hospitality, or you could be an admin in the medical industry, or you could be an admin in the events industry. So there really is an endless possibility to what you can do with your resume and how many industries you can apply to if you really believe that what you've done before, the experience that you bring to the table, can apply to that job role. So for 500 applications, you may get 50 interviews. So work with that number in mind, and every day set yourself a goal. Start with applying to 10 jobs a day, right? And build that number up to 50 jobs a day, because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs. And of course, in India, a billion people. So you want to beat the odds. The next thing I want to talk about is your preparation. Uh, an aunt of mine, a friend of my mom's, told me this. Practice whatever. She gave me a little book on interviewing questions, and I'm sure now we didn't have that much internet back then. I come from the Zennial era, as I said. Um, Practice what the interview questions may be in the mirror. Look at yourself, because you have no idea what you look like when you're talking to the other person. And the more you practice it by yourself in the bathroom or in your bedroom, the better you will get, because facial features have a lot to play in your interviewing process and your facial expressions. Practice smiling a lot, practice looking yourself in the eye, practice not blinking, practice setting your shoulders straight, not slumping. Practice how you do a handshake, how you'd sit down, all of it. Practice all of it, right? Do it a few times. And you might feel silly in the beginning, but it'll get better and better and easier, and not so silly as you become better at it. Go through your wardrobe and figure out the kind of company you are going to be talking to. Do your homework on that company. So dress accordingly. If it's a smaller company, you don't want to be dressed in heavy corporate wear that may come across as too forceful or too trying too hard. If it's a corporate, make sure I don't know, I would say Google what you see their brand identity being, and choose your clothes accordingly. I did have one interview where I was really upset about it, where I was told, like, we don't think you'd fit in at this company because of what you're wearing. Because I went in a skirt suit and the entire company, primarily the women, wore salwar kameezes, and I did not see how that had anything to do with what I brought to the table in terms of my work, but that did happen. So, depending on how much you want the job, do your homework on the company. Also, do your homework on the company for things that they are in the news for right now, things that they may have achieved recently, things that they're working on, awards that they've got, the team that you're interviewing with. See if you can find anything on them at all. Write these things down, memorize them, practice, as I said, in the mirror, talking about them, bringing them up in the conversation. And if you can, I would highly recommend making yourself some business cards. Very simple. We did this for our event restarter for the women who registered for our conference, and we asked them for two personal strengths that they brought to the table, um, that they've learned on their break, and we added those in under their names, and we gave them job titles like Superwoman of One if it was a mother of one, or All Responsible Chief Caregiver if their break was for elderly care. So have a look. If you want to know the different designations that we invented, let me know. You can follow me on the mentor page on Jobs for Her, and I will send you all of those so you can make yourself some really snazzy, memorable business cards. They're not very expensive to make. Make a set of 100. You'll be sending out, one or two at a time at every interview. And they will keep you top of mind with the person you're meeting. And also, the night before, pack your bag. You always have more time the night before than you do the morning off. Always remember that. So, just before you go to bed, ideally put in 5 hard copies of your resume and your cover letter. Your cover letter really should be personalized to that company, that job role, that person that you're talking to. Get creative with it because they do read the cover letter, and that is an inside um, glimpse into your personality, your character, and all the strengths that you bring to the table after your break. Keep a notepad, keep 3 pens because you never know what's going to happen with the pens. If you use a laptop, I know that I never did during my break. I was always on an iPad and on my phone. But as soon as I started working, I pulled out the laptop again. So get comfortable with the laptop again during your break. So take that along. Carry deodorant because I mean, it's a cold time right now, but you never know when you're nervous, and there's nothing more off-putting than body odor in a room when you're closed together. So carry deodorant. Go to the bathroom in that office before you get to the interview. Use it. Keep a water bottle. Also, a stain stick or soda or powder. Keep that in your bag because you know I am famous for dropping coffee on myself right before a big event that we have to do. And everybody knows this, so now I carry powder in my handbag so that I can cover that up. So these are just a few little tricks and tips that I used when I was going to interviews, and I've done a hell of a lot of them that really helped me. Going to the next slide. This is something that I got off the internet, but this is something that I have looked at myself before going into interviews. So I'll just go through this infographic with you. 67% in a survey of more than 2,000 hiring managers, 33% claim to know whether or not they would hire someone within 90 seconds. That's a minute and a half. That's really fast. So, common non-verbal mistakes made during job interviews. 67% fail to make eye contact. Yeah, it's a big thing, right? Making eye contact is hard for us, and especially when we've been on a break and not been around the working world of adults for a while, it can be an intimidating concept. So practice that the night before, the eye contact. Practice it with your husband or with your sister, or with your friends. Actually, mock interviews with each other, with your friends, are also really good to do if you have that friend or neighbor who would help you out with that the night before. 47% have little knowledge of the company. It's so important to do your homework about the company you're going to interview with. You must have at least one or two things to say to that interviewing person about as soon as you meet. So, hi, I'm Schonali. It's so nice to meet you, and it's so great to be here. And I think it's quite amazing that your company is doing this right now in this field, or won this award last year for this. And I'm really excited about chatting with you today. So 30, another stat, 38% don't smile. When we're nervous, we think that um, looking serious makes us seem more serious about the job role, but it doesn't. The person there has probably interviewed hundreds of people before you, and they really want to see a smiling person on the other side of the table. So keep smiling, because it really, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we all enjoy talking to people. 33% have bad posture. This is, yes, like I said, when you're practicing in the mirror, set your shoulders straight, straighten up your back. These are little things, but they make a difference. It projects you as confident about yourself, which then gives the other person confidence in you and your abilities. 33% fidget too much. Yeah, that is something that people do a lot. So if you tend to pull on your fingers, or I used to have a habit of running my thumb along my other nails all the time. And finally, my mother told me that it's extremely distracting for someone else when they're talking to you, and to stop doing that. And I had no idea that that's what I was doing. So ask people who are close to you if you do have any of these fidgety habits, and try to work on toning them down. Because when you're in an interview chair, it's like you're on stage. You do need to play to your audience and not to yourself. So going down, 26% have a weak handshake. Yeah, this is something you should practice. It's something that actually I'm not very sure if we do it too much here in India, shaking hands. But if you are going to shake someone's hand when you meet them, make sure that it's firm, it's not too floppy, it's not too hard. We don't want to go all Donald Trump on our interviewer. But just practice that with someone you're close to. Do not play with your hair or touch your face. Yeah, this is something very distracting. Practice that. Crossing your arms over your chest. I think the easiest posture, really, when you're in that interviewing chair, is to sit back, tuck your left foot behind your right ankle. So that will put both your knees together automatically into the side, and place your arms on either side of the chair that you're sitting on. This will automatically straighten up your back. It will make you seem comfortable, happy to be there, and excited to take this conversation forward. So sit well back into your chair. Don't perch on the edge of it. Sit back into that chair. That chair is yours for the next 30 minutes, or however long this interview is going to take. So get comfortable. Be comfortable. Straighten up your back against it. Put your arms on either side of on the arm rests, and tuck your left foot behind your right ankle. Too many hand gestures. We went over this with the fidgeting. The way you dress. So 55% of hiring managers said that first impressions are determined by the way you dress, act, and walk through the door. This is something that you can practice again at home. Walking through the door, dressing and acting is what you do in the mirror, but practice walking into the office door. The quality of your 38% said it was the quality of your voice, your grammar, and confidence. Yes, do brush up on your grammar skills. These are things that we struggle with as writers as well every day. Um, Practice, like I said, so in my day I had to buy an interview book, a book of interview questions. But I think that what you can do is just go online and look at common interview questions, and it's here as well in this infographic. The 4 questions most likely to be asked on the right hand side of this slide. What was your experience like at XXX company? Number 2, why do you want to work for us? Number 3, what do you know about our company? Number 4, why did you leave your previous job? And this number 4 for all of us as women on a break will probably segue into how long has your break been? How many years of gap do you have? And then they're going to dwell on that for a little while. Make sure that when you are looking at your resume, like I said, you start filling in what you are doing on your break that you bring to the table in terms of skill sets that can be applied in the workplace. I keep telling people that having a child was the hardest thing I've ever done, and it still is the hardest job I will have. because there are no off days, there is no vacation time, there is no sick leave, and it is constantly 24/7 for the rest of your life. You will always think about another person. This gives you so much empathy, so much team management, so much relationship management, so much crisis management. I mean, I'm talking, I know only to the parents in this group, but um, how many of us have had to deal with first year of baby and uh, potty accidents all over your house? That never happens in the workplace ever. So understand that if you can handle that, you can handle any crisis in the workplace. Um, so, four most important interview tips going down on that slide. Learn about the organization, like I said. Have a specific position in mind that you'd like to fill. This is something that we see at Jobs for Her all the time, that women tend to apply to a lot of different jobs without having any prior experience for that role. I've done that before, but I've realized that when I spent a little bit more time on refining the resume and refining my sights on the job role that I was looking at, or the job roles that I was looking at, and making sure that the ones I was applying to, I really did bring something to the table that would help this company make the decision to hire me. Do that, because it's not enough. Oh, maximize the screen. It is maximized, but I don't know. Mm, it is maximized. I will share this with you all later as well. So you can have that and you can zoom in on it afterwards as well. So don't worry about that. So let's go up on that right hand side. The top 10 most common interview mistakes. Number one, over explaining why you lost your last job. For us, we would say that for women on a gap, it's over explaining your gap and talking too much about the personal side of your gap, because the personal side of your gap is only interesting to all of us who are in the gap. It's interesting to yourself, it's interesting to your family, but it is not interesting to the person interviewing you. So try really hard not to talk about the personal reasons for why you've taken. I mean, mention it for sure. It's extremely important what you've done. Oh, you can't hear? Ooh, 1 second. Can you hear me now?
Can everybody hear Shonali, or is it just Sujata?
Okay,
That's
great.
great. Well, Sujata, just sign off and sign back in, and that will solve the problem.
Um, so you must give the reason for why you're on your break. You must spend 2 sentences on it. Beyond that, you must not talk about it. There's no need to, unless you're asked specifically about it, unless you can use something from it as an icebreaker in your conversation or as a conversational topic that connects with your interviewer because they've given you a sign of some sort, that this would be an interesting thing to talk about right now. Um, Always remember that when you're sitting in that interview chair, you're sitting with another person. It's not, uh, they're not some mythical creature that is a doomsday harbinger. They're another person. And the number one thing that people like to do is connect with other people, whether they think they do or not. Um, if you think of this person as your friend, I recently did, I mean, I really never thought I would, but this emceeing for the Restart Her was so nerve wracking. And Neha, our founder, the advice she gave me backstage was just think of them as all your friends. And you're sitting in a room talking to all your friends, and it helps so much. So think of this person as someone you eventually, one day, because you're going to get this job, going to be sharing a coffee with and chatting with on a daily basis. So when you go into that interview room and you look that person in the eye and you shake their hand, smile at them as if you're going to smile at them for the next so many years because you're going to be working together. All right. So, like going back to the top 10 most common interview mistakes. Number two, conveying that you're not over losing your last job. Okay. So, that would be again like, I mean, what we said about your gap and your break and not hopping on it more than necessary. Number 3, lacking humor, warmth, or personality. Um, I think you should play to your strengths. I'm not so great at cracking jokes when I meet a new person. You may be. If you are, use it. Warmth is something that's easier, I think, for all of us to do. Go with warmth. Um, and if they do crack a joke, laugh. Don't be nervous. And number 4, let's go to number 4. Not showing enough interest or enthusiasm. Yes, that would be definitely a no-no when you're sitting there interviewing for a job at their company that they love. Number 5, inadequate research about a potential employer, like we said about the homework. Number 6, concentrating too much on what you want. Yes, let it be an open two-way conversation about what they are looking for and what you can bring to the table based on what they're looking for, as well as what you want to do and what excites you to do now that you are coming back from a break. I know, so a lot of people keep saying, stay excited, stay relevant. It's very tough for a woman on a break to do that. I remember when I was on the break, you can't we don't know enough to be excited about anything. We just want to restart. We just want to go back to, for me, I just wanted to go back to an office and see other people every day and interact with them. That's all I wanted to do and apply my brain to a job that paid me a salary that gave me value, right, in the world. So remember that and go into an interview with that, right? Number 7, trying to be all things to all people. Yeah, don't be I mean, play to your strengths, like we said. Don't try to jump into every job role that they have on offer. Don't talk about every job role they have on offer, even if you read about it. Just talk about the one thing that you're here for, about the one thing that you're going to do for them, and what they need from you for that. Oh, number 8 is winging the interview. Yeah, do your homework the night before, prepare the night before. Do not go there thinking that you can do this extempore, because it's not the best attitude to have. Chances are your interviewer would have spent some time going over the questions they're going to ask you. So give them the respect to do the same, right? Number 9, failing to set yourself apart from other candidates. Yeah, think about the one thing about yourself that's unique, the one thing that you know about yourself that you've not really noticed in anyone else you've met or anyone else you know, and talk about that. Talk about why you would be the reason they want to hire you. You would be the reason that this job role exists. Okay? And number 10 is failing to ask for the job. So keep reiterating that you want this job. You're not just there to pastime. You're there because you want this job in the end, right? So if we going forward. So being in that chair, something I learned in Women's Studies 101 is that the personal is political. That means that what is happening to each of us on a personal level is most definitely something that the entire world or your country or your city or your school or your organization is facing on a macro level. Because if you are feeling it, everybody else feels it at some level too. So if you have personal needs when you are coming to a job, talk about them. So something that a friend of mine told me very early on in my career when I was restarting for the second time was talk about leave during your interview. In the beginning, straight away, mention your leave, mention the vacation that if you know already, talk about it, because you have to not be afraid. You believe that you are an important person to yourself, to your family, and when you believe that and you put that across, the other person respects you more for that. And employers are always happier to know in advance about flexibility, about time off, about vacation, about children and sick leave. Because remember this, as parents or as caregivers of the elderly, you don't just need sick leave for yourself when you're sick. You need sick leave for when they're sick too, because you need to take care of them. So that is something that you should put across in the beginning professionally and say, what we've realized with are almost, I don't know, we're 85% women, I think, at Jobs for Her, is that while we work different hours here, all the women work different hours because all of us have our second jobs, which is actually our first jobs back home, running our homes. So we work in very different hours, overlapping each other. We get the job done. Every day we get the job done. And so even if we're putting, so this is something you need to tell your employer, that you take ownership for your work every single day. And you must feel that as well. And that's how we get our work done while being moms and caregivers and newly married women and all of that. We get our work done, right? So and I give this example to people. As my mom is now 65 years old and still working. She just got promoted last year. She handles the marketing team at SAS. She's an executive assistant, which is an extremely difficult job that I've tried to do once and did very badly because it's highly organized. You have to be highly organized, and I'm an extremely disorganized person. But I was there in Canada visiting for Christmas, and it was my last night. So we'd all sat up for dinner, and I was really tired, so I went to bed. And at 3 in the morning, my son woke up. So, I put him back to sleep. And I looked under my door, my bedroom door, and I saw that the living room light was on. And in the morning, I just went back to sleep because I assumed that the party was still going. In the morning, my mom was up before me and making coffee for me. I went in the kitchen and I said, "Oh, so how long did everyone stay up?" And she said, "No, everyone went to sleep and you did." I said, "But I saw that the light was on at 3 in the morning." She said, "Oh, yeah, I was doing reports because I had to finish that for today." 65 years old, was up at 3 in the morning finishing the work after she had cooked for the family, washed all the dishes, put them away, and was up again at whatever, 6 a.m. to make coffee for all of us. Women get the job done no matter what, because that ownership is something, I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, this guilt factor we've got, but we get the job done. And that's something you need to put across to that interviewer, that in spite of needing whatever time off you're going to need or needing the flexibility that you're going to need, you take ownership for the work you do, you take pride in the work you do, and you will make sure you get the work done. The other thing is that you need to also keep in mind that you work with teams most often, and teams may not always work at the same time. So that sort of communication needs to happen, open and honest communication between team members, which we do every day here, because we work with a bunch of women who work on varying part-time hour schedules, and we need to overlap our time together, right, to get everything done. So put it across during your interview, right? The how and what questions to ask an employee during an interview. This is almost the same. Talk about what their work culture is, because as much they respect you more when you have questions for them during the interview, because you are choosing this company as well. So, a friend of mine in Toronto recently quit her job because she's got two little girls and she didn't get the promotion that she was gunning for, that she deserved, and so she quit. And it was around Christmas time, so she said, "I'm just going to take this time to be with my little girls, enjoy Christmas, and then start looking." She said, "But this time around, I'm going to be really careful about the kind of company that I work with, and I am going to be the interviewer to the interviewer." I thought that was amazing. Of course, she is quite high up in her career, but I think at any level, you will get more respect from the person interviewing you if you have two or three questions about the company, which shows that you are being picky and you are looking to see if this is the kind of company that you want to restart in. Because this is what she said. She said, "I'm restarting because I'm making that choice to restart. And I bring a hell of a lot to the table. And if they want me, it better be a company that I like and that respects my time, respects what the time I have to give to other people as well." Um, and she put together those questions. So I would say Google a few questions that you can ask. But number one, I would ask about the work culture. I would ask about the women-friendly policies in the company, and I would ask about the health benefits in the company, because that's really important when you have a family. These are top three things for me that I would talk about during the interview that would make the interviewer know that I'm making a choice between them and others as well. Negotiating flexibility. Um, we tell a lot of women that a good way to restart your career when you've been on a long break, especially, or if you are being choosy about coming back to work, is to do it on a part time basis, and also the returnee internship. So there are companies that offer this. This is how I restarted through jobs for her, and I did a returnee internship where I got paid a stipend. Um, but and the stipend was really low, and it was fine because I obviously had been not working for 2 years. We'd been living on a single income. That meant that for 2 years we had managed on a single income. So I knew that this restart had to be from ground zero again. And I was willing to come back to work and prove myself, right? Because otherwise, why would they bank on me? Um, because I wanted to work my way up again from the bottom, as this was a first job in India for me in the big bad world again, right? So ease back in. The returnee internship is a superb way because you get paid a stipend, which is like, I don't know if you did internships in college, but I had to. And it's just a little, it's just something to mark your time. But you get to do it on part time or full time hours. And it's a great way for an employer to interview you over an extended period of time. So it's a no strings attached relationship. You go in, you do work, and you get to work on quite exciting projects, right? It's not really mundane stuff that it's not that would insult your level of intelligence. It's something that you can work on with a team, um, but it's not deadline stressed or stressful in any way. So those are ways that you can ease your way in with flexibility. And what I did was I did those part-time hours during my son's naps in the afternoon. So while he napped, I was at work, and I was using that time that was otherwise dead time and really honestly spent on Facebook, to use my brain. And as he started play school, and then as his play school hours grew longer, my work hours also grew longer. And I got paid accordingly. And that's just how it is. So if we can just put away that ego that we've got when we restart, I say this to everyone, unless you're really high up on the ladder when you've left and coming back, the salary is just a stepping stone. It's just a baby step to what you can do later, right? So don't dwell on it. Just get back in the game. And then once you're in the game, start proving yourself, start negotiating, and start keeping a track of your value and what you bring to the table for this company. The next point is fixing the focus, the job you're being interviewed for versus everything else you're doing. Um, So what we find with a lot of women is that you're on a break, so you're doing all kinds of upskilling courses, um, and you tend to bring that, and they may or may not have anything to do with the job you're being interviewed for. Fix the focus of why you're there, right? The job you're being interviewed for is a specific job role, it has a specific skill set, it's in a specific industry. So stick to those facts. Don't go all over the board with everything else that I mean, you may be volunteering with a social service organization that has nothing to do with the software engineer job that you're applying for right now, right? So fix the focus and stick to it. Communication before and after the interview. Email the person that who will be interviewing you the night before, the evening before, saying that you're really excited to see them the next day. When you have finished that interview, go back home, email them again. Thank you very much. Um, Mention a couple of things that you discussed during the interview. Say this if there's something that they asked you to think about. Mention that you will think about it. If you already have the answer to it, put it in there. Follow up on that email for 3 weeks, once a week, is what I would say. Right? So give it a month because recruiters and interviewers are very busy, and you do need to keep yourself top of mind with them after you finish speaking to them. Give them your business card if you are making them. and make sure you give that to them before you leave. All right. And a great way to get comfortable during this interview and in that conversation is to read the newspaper that week, for some little piece of news that you all could talk about casually. Like I said, think of that person as someone that you are one day going to have a coffee with every day, maybe, and talk to them that way through the interview. That being said, Um, a great way to start your restart journey is with our R3 Roadshow, Reassess, Reskill, Restart. This is part of our new section on the Jobs for Her website, which is the reskilling section, which we're so excited about because it's something that women have been asking for all these years now that we've been in existence. And the R3 Roadshow is coming to 6 cities across India: Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Gurgaon. We are starting on November 25th in Bangalore, and then if you go to our event page for it, which is quite easy to find on our website, you'll see all our other dates where we are in the other when we're in the other cities. The what we're going to give you in that one day are reskilling workshops, speed mentoring, and networking with other women on a break. So you get to meet mentors who are leaders from within the industry, within different industries. These are people who've moved up the ladder and are successful at what they do and want to share that knowledge with women on a break because they see the potential in you and would like to meet you. And for them, it's a great way to suss out potential hires for their organization. So it's a great time to bring those cards along, your business cards, and talk to these men and women. Give them your card, have meaningful conversations, get guidance from them on your career and where they see you going based on your resume, based on your experience, based on your break, and network with other women who are on a break. There's nothing that compares to the power of women coming together, um, and building relationships and community. Really, with our ambassador network, we see this: women making circles that join hands and talk to each other openly about what they're going through on your break. That you're not alone in that boat. There are so many other women just like you, and together you all can do this. So come to the R3 Roadshow. Again, starting November 25th, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Gurgaon. There'll be reskilling, mentoring, and networking. I'm open to questions now. I'm going to go through all the questions that you've put here already. Um, oh, I think it's Neetu. Neetu, are you there? Yeah, I think you're here. Uh, you're being interviewed for a senior position with a traditional FMCG company. First round. You wore perfect corporate wear, blazer, formal shirt and pant, whereas all the employees were wearing traditional. Today, you have a second round, which could be final. Still wear corporate dress? Should I dress traditionally? The only 11-month break, giving you a salary cut. How do you react to it? Neetu, this depends on how many years of experience you had before your break. I know that for me, it was okay to take a salary cut because I knew that I would prove myself within 6 months to a year, if not less than that, and that I would negotiate within 6 months or a year to increase my salary after that. Um, there are women that I know who absolutely, given that before they break they had 15 years of work experience or 20 years of work experience, it's something that they know they can negotiate. If you know you can negotiate this, read up a little bit on negotiation. Cheryl Sandberg has some great tips in her book Lean In, but read up on the internet as well about negotiation. I did write an article for Femina about negotiation, and I can you can find that on our page as well. But get in touch with me if you want to know about it, right? I think if you are comfortable in traditional wear, do that as well, so that they see that you are comfortable straddling both worlds. Yeah. You did Western for the first round, do traditional for the second round. And somebody else asked, Shreya, if you have to wear, see, corporate attire is relative to the country you're in. In India, corporate attire is salwar kameez or sari, or western. I mean, we're a country that straddles so many worlds. You do not have to wear western clothes at all. I am more comfortable in western clothes, which is why I wear them. When I do wear Indian clothes, everybody has a heart attack. But I do enjoy dressing in Indian clothes as well. Just what I would say is make sure whatever you're wearing is comfortable. Make sure that what you're wearing you don't have to fidget with, you don't have to pull or tug at it or adjust it in any way. So that I mean, give yourself an hour in that chair really. If you're having a great conversation with this person interviewing you, the longer your interview, the better your chances are of getting that job, I believe. Yeah, because you're talking casually and happily with each other. Um,
Pankaj Tiwari.
Pankaj Tiwari. What if no recruiters revert back after sending resumes for months, weeks? How to manage when the resume? Like I said, you need to be you need to be applying to 50 jobs a day, Pankaj. 50 jobs a day. You start with 10, okay? And if you're applying to 50 jobs a day, if you've done 500 job applications, you're going to get maybe 50 interviews. But you need to do that, all right? So just keep sending that resume out to all kinds of jobs everywhere. We have a ton on our portal, but don't put all your eggs in just one basket. However, you need to keep applying, right? And with our portal, when you follow a company, you get notified when new jobs come up with that company. So I highly recommend people, ladies, all of you, please follow companies that you like on our portal. We've got all their women friendly policies listed out in their profiles. You can do your homework on the company right there on the jobs fair website. You don't need to go anywhere else because everything about a company is in their featured profile on our portal. Career break. So I'm just going to go up here. Anusha, thank you. 8 years. That's amazing that you're coming back to work. Way to go, Anushka. Oh, we have. Oh, so you're concerned about how the working world will react to such a long break. One of my favorite restarters from our early years, early months, is a woman called Sheetal Chawla, who was on our third panel at our Restart Her offline conference in September this year. Sheetal Chawla had a break. We have her restarter story um, on our blog page, on our website. She took a break for 13 years, and Sheetal's attitude was amazing. She sat right next to the woman at work who was in charge of entering new jobs into the computer, into our portal. And every day she said, "What are the new jobs? What are the new jobs?" And she found out what the jobs were. She applied, she called, she got interviews, and she interviewed every single day for 3 weeks. And she restarted in a company, a small IT company, where she was the office manager. And after 13 years of being at home, within a year, she was traveling to Belgium, Singapore, San Francisco, and all these amazing places on work. So no break is too long. I really no break is too long. It's you who has to believe that you can bring you back, really. And like I said, keep in touch with, make sure that you have friends while you're on your break who are still working so that they give you that confidence in yourself because they will, right? Okay. Ooh, lots of questions. Rini, um, you've done your MBA in marketing and no, sorry, Rini is break of 2 years. Interviewer said you can't give your salary hike because of your gap. Well, yes, I would say that's either you can come in on the same salary that you left at or on a lower salary because a hike in salary is not going to happen when you come off a break because there's no guarantee of what that hike a hike in salary comes after you've worked for a company for some time, right? And I would say try to negotiate to come back at the same salary at which you left or something a little lower and work your way back up because that can happen and it will happen when you prove yourself. And we all do have to prove ourselves because the working world, at some point, nothing comes for free, right? These companies are being run based on them hiring people who do the work that makes the company money. So I would say that you should come in at least at what you were making, and maybe a little less is okay for a little while, but make sure you negotiate after 6 months. Career break for 2 years, working with a distribution company as a relationship manager. Lost it. Here I am. You've done your MBA in marketing and finance, but now you don't want a sales job, you want an operational job. And do you have to redo your resume? Yes, I have redone my resume multiple times, but you don't redo the entire resume. You just tweak it a bit, right, to suit the job role that you're applying for. Now, do you have any experience in operations? Can you think of anything you've been doing while you're on your break? Volunteering somewhere, or being on the PTA of your child's school, or in your religious organization if you're part of a social board. All of that is operational, right? So put that all in. Redo your resume in that sense. So add a new section, right? And put that all in. Um, marketing is very different. Marketing and finance are very different from operational. I mean, sales is really different from operational. So you definitely would be a fresher in that area, and you'd have a lot to learn, which is a good thing because we always have to learn. You were in operations for the this is Krishna Veni. Operations for the last 10 years. Interest in HR. Is it possible to change your role after a break of 3 years? Absolutely. Come to the R3 Roadshow. Meet some mentors. Talk about it. Go to a reskilling workshop if it's in your city that has some connection to human resources, and start that process. Start reskilling yourself, start taking courses, start learning about HR, and then you can show that on your resume for the job roles that you're applying for. We're running out of time. I'm going to take two more questions. Is there a way to see a recorded version of this webinar? Yes, there is. Thank you, everyone. I had fun talking to you, and I hope you had fun listening to what I said, and that I gave you some simple things that you can do before interviews that I've used when I was interviewing. And yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Shonali. It was a great session, and we can see the feedback flowing in on the chat window. So thank you, everyone, as well, for attending this session. I'm sure you have gained some awesome tips while you're attending that interview after a break.